Profits podcast, where we discuss all things related to the business of detailing. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, this podcast is for you. In each episode, we'll cover topics ranging from business management to marketing solutions. Here to help you grow your detailing business, your hosts, Nick and Dustin.
What's up?
We're back. God, it's been a minute.
Back live. It has been a minute, and
Why? Why has it been a
I didn't
minute?
do
Why has it been a minute?
well, I had to take a little vacation.
Oh,
You had to
okay.
take a
I had
vacation,
to take a little vacation.
and then we had to go to Mobile Tech
Yeah.
down in Orlando. A lot of fun. Met a ton of people, and you know what? We didn't really have a show topic for today, so what do you say we kind of recap Mobile Tech, talk about the things that we did there, people that we met, conversations that were had. We'll try to tie some business in there some way, somehow.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to lasso something in. My one thing that I want to throw out is, look, me and you were not at our shops, right?
Right. Yep.
Were they still running?
Oh, absolutely. The
Yeah.
show must go on.
The show must go on. So I think everybody that's going down to Mobile Tech, and some people closed down shop, some people stayed open. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that's a pretty cool conversation to have of what kind of headaches waited for you when you got back, waited for me. I don't know. That was sort of
No, yeah, I think the first conversation there is getting yourself to a point where you can leave the shop. A
Yeah.
lot of these guys, owner operators, or maybe they have a few employees, and the typical detailer says, I'm the guy, I'm the best, and you think about what team you're building, and in some people's case, or my friend Billy, he brings his whole team there, so obviously they have to shut down.
yeah.
But the ones that leave them back at home and they don't trust their guys to run the shop, that's a reflection on your leadership and the way that you're training your team. You should train your team to operate just as you do. And, I think that that's step one for detailers, is to learn that, being the best paint polisher is all great and wonderful, right? That is what it is. But there's life beyond that, and to be a great leader, you got to be able to teach and replace yourself.
Oh, Dustin, stop beating up on the poor detailers. Listen, if you got to close up shop to go to MTE, it's what you get out of it. The value you get out of it is going to be more than you make in those 2 days. But to your point, it is a good idea to say, look, you know what? I could get the value that I get out of Education Day and the expo and talking to everybody and stay open. Maybe next year you figure out a limited capacity, maybe just doing certain types of detail. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I'm speaking mainly to the detailers that have got 2 or 3 people in a crew. I think Tayton did that. He's got a few people that work for him. And so he operated in a limited capacity, kind of set the jobs up that he knew that they could knock out. And I get it, right? I get leaving the shop is stressful. When you're used to dealing with your customers, you're used to being that guy. And I'm all for Mobile Tech and going to events and going to trainings and stuff like that is imperative to your growth. Like you're not going to grow without getting out and experiencing and learning other things from other people. But you should be setting your business up to operate without you. Now, if you're owner operator and you have to shut down, it's just that an investment. This is not a cost directly to you. It's an investment into your business.
Let me ask you this, Dustin. Do you tell everybody at the shop that you're going to be gone, or do you do it as a surprise?
Okay, so that depends. That depends. Used to, I was known for not telling anybody.
Me too.
Literally,
Me too.
I would show up that day, and I wouldn't even tell them when I got to leave, and then I just wouldn't come back. And then a day or so into it, they kind of caught on that I was gone for a little while.
Where the hell is Dustin?
My team has grown far beyond that.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent. The only thing I don't tell them, this is so funny, is in the springtime, I like to go play golf. And I always pick a day where I leave around noon, but I will never tell anybody where I'm going. I won't even so I have my calendar shared with everyone. And like anything, if I take medicine or something.
You're like an open book. We know where you're at.
It is an open book. My calendar's open to everybody, but the golf, I'll schedule something, and it's so funny because they know, but they won't tell it. They won't say nothing, and I'll put 4-hour out of office meeting on Wednesday.
Like,
every
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Are you on that meeting? No, I'm not on that meeting. Oh, that's just Dustin golfing. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody knows, but nobody said. And look, so you want to hear something even funnier? Is my dad keeps his, our golf clubs in his. I'm totally telling on myself right now. He keeps our golf clubs in his office, and he has a door and shoes. Yeah, Chris told me, and shoes. And so he has a door out of his office out to the outside of the building, and he like backs his truck in, sneaks and slides our clubs.
You know what's funny? Where does that come from? You know what I mean? Because I feel the same way. I think a lot of these detailers feel the same way. It is so hard to leave the shop. When you're there and working with everybody, it is so hard to just remove yourself and make that time for you. And it's a guilty feeling. Am I wrong?
It's a big time guilt feeling. Yep. Even when you're here an hour and a half earlier than everybody else, and you're working an hour and a half later than everybody else, and you're putting in the Saturdays and Sundays when you need to, and literally, they if you asked them, they wouldn't give a shit. But it is a guilt feeling, and you don't want, and you're working. Truth be told, I'm answering the phones, I'm talking to them. My golf trips are not, umbrella drinks and, like I want them to be. Let me just tell you, I'd love to turn the phone off and sneak out, but it don't happen like that. But listen, that's so funny you asked. You tell the people. So, but yeah, now we do. I mean, our team is all on the same page, and everybody's just we have like. We just have such a good group of people here. Our core group is just solid as can be, and everybody pretty much does everything.
Yeah, and this year I did the same thing. There he is.
What's up, Cody Lane? Congratulations again, baby. I ain't gonna quit telling you that.
He won. Go ahead, give him a shout out. He won.
Yeah. He won Marine Detailer of the Year, IDA Awards. I got to call him up on stage, which was really cool. He is a detail bookie user and proud user that is, and he gave a huge shout out to us as a company. But you know what, man? Seeing young blood up there and seeing a go-getter and somebody that's really passionate about what they do and then just humble, that's what this industry is all about. And it was so cool being able to give him his award and call him up, and great job on the speech, man. When you're not expecting it, that can be a real surprise.
Now that he's a celebrity, we got to see if we can get him on the show, maybe do a little boat detailing show.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Join now.
But it's hard to get him on. It's hard to get a celebrity like that Detailer of the Year on the show.
Send us a message, Cody. We'll loop you into this show if you got to say it. So, but look, when you stand up on that stage and there's 1,000 people out there or 800 people in front of you, and it is what's the word? Intimidating. And so
Dustin, nobody was watching. Everyone was eating the meatballs.
I'm talking about Cody.
Oh, well then of course when he goes up there. I thought you were trying to give yourself.
No, man, I don't ever give myself props.
Yeah.
I just handle that shit like a boss, dog. Is Cody going to join? That's what those meetings are. No, that's Madison talking about the golf. Shut up, Madison. This summer we'll walk out my back door, brother. Oh yeah, Joel LaPon. He's building a beautiful home right there on the golf course.
Look at that picture there. What's that award there, Joel? What's that award? Let's give it.
Oh, look at that! Speaking of awards, Supplier of the Year. That was another one that that I got to had the pleasure of giving an award to a very, very good friend of mine, Joel, and their team won Supplier of the Year, IGL. And I mean, look, huge shout out to those guys. They earned it. I mean, to me, like, I nothing against any other person, but like they earned it, and so did Cody and all. But man, it's like, it's good to see them headed, it's good to see the awards get delivered to the right people. And I think that I think that we get it right sometimes. And that's
the IDA. Speaks to the IDA that it went,
it does.
The way it goes.
Does. Yeah. And so, but shout out to everybody. Shout out to the nominees too. Those are all my friends. And again, like I said, I'm just proud of the people that are connected with us, getting in the winner's circle. And, it was cool. It was fun. I mean, that was just a small dose. I think we should talk about Education Day, because Education Day at Mobile Tech was massive.
And sponsored by Dustin Jackson there. How many shows did you have, Dustin?
I had 4. I had 4 classes that I taught. So the first one was $1 Million Detail Shop, an updated version of that. So for those of you that kind of rolled your eyes like I did, because I've taught it for the last 5 years, it was an updated version of that. I've added some stuff to it. I've really, made it more relevant as we've gone through some things. I taught. What did I do? Oh, I was the host of the Rupes training day that we hosted 5 detailers about creating efficiency that Nick was on. Shout out to Nick. Great job, man. You saved me.
The text the day before. Hey, get your ass on this panel.
Jason Rose I'm sure he's listening. And I was supposed to have handled that a little differently.
But you know what? Let me put something out there. That panel, the way that you made it was unlike any other class I went to on Education Day.
Really?
I just want to put that out there. I think that's something that would be really cool for next year. And you put it at a 2-hour block.
Yes, we need more time.
We need more time. You know.
And look, so they wanted my challenge was to make it more engaging and entertaining, or interesting. So by having the panel there, but then also involving the audience was huge. I wanted to have other people speak, and I thought that was really cool. Cody's going to join us. I taught a couple more classes. We'll talk about that in a minute. Come on, Cody. We should bring Joel in too. What's up, big dog? Let's see if he's got sound yet.
He's got that signal.
How you doing, brother?
I'm man. Right.
Yeah, you're kind of spotty right now. What, you coming into a better area?
He's going through a tunnel. It's a big tunnel.
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah.
Let me, I'm actually getting some food right now. Let me call y'all. Let me join a little later.
Yeah, we don't want to interrupt lunch, dude. We just want to take congratulations.
You got to get that lunch in.
All
right.
Give me about 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. If we're still on, we're going to send you the link in 10. I think we will be. All right. He's going to. Okay, cool. Joel, if you want to join there, it's in the comments. We can talk about you too. Classes that I taught. There's Tayton. Yeah. And I was just mentioning you, Tayton, about having your guys operate the shop. I felt like you did. I may be wrong. But classes that we taught, man, what else? Oh, we did pricing. That's what I want to talk about.
I didn't go to that one. I'm going to be honest. I didn't go to that one. I got to get filled in.
Let me mention one more thing. I did another one with Road FS with Rod Puzzi and the co-owner of Road FS, and me and him did one on software. And I thought that was really impactful to see two, quote unquote competitors, standing up there talking about software and how it's changing our industry and how it's helping our industry. And dude, it was great conversation. And we also co-hosted the awards banquet. But listen, here's what I want to talk about. And we can save this topic for a minute, and it's probably going to be a whole show. But pricing, I had 160 people in that class. Okay, it was standing room only.
Yep.
When I taught the whole class, right? I had a presentation. I told them that I wanted it to involve them. I wanted, it to be a discussion based. I would get through the presentation. I would send them the ebook, but I wanted it to be discussion based. When I tell you that leaving there left people with more questions than answers, that tells you where we're at as an industry for pricing and understanding their cost and understanding how to price. And here's the question I proposed to them. This is it. When you go into detailing for money and you say, how much should I charge for this? Or you call me and you say, how much should I charge for this? Or you call Nick or Mike Carlin and you say, how much should you charge for this? I proposed a question to all detailers. Why not just call the customer and ask them how much you should charge?
Yeah.
Why not call your mom and ask her how much you should charge? Because they know about the same information on your business as I do.
Yep.
I mean, really. And so I can give you, headlights, $100. Like, what if it cost you $150 to do them? What if it took you 4 hours to do them and you used $100 worth of sandpaper? I wouldn't be doing you no good, would I?
Well, the biggest thing is, let me put it this way, is like, when I get that question from the couple detailers when I was talking there, I was like, look, you got to start low and you work your way up. You got to build your reputation. What your competitors are doing. And then everybody that has a business they're trying to make as much as possible and staying busy, so you got to make sure that you're charging accordingly, but you got to make sure that you're busy and can support what you're trying to do.
Right. And when you say charging accordingly, so here's the reality is your customers, like, you got to understand what it costs you to do something in order to understand what to charge to do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so just because your customers don't want to pay for something that you can't lose money on a job in order to satisfy the customer. Now you can in certain instances, right? Well, we don't like, there are jobs where we absolutely have lost money on. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you can't say, well, customers will only pay $49 for a set of headlight restore. And it literally takes me 3 hours and I use $50 worth of product.
And do a bunch of
whatever. And but that's all they'll pay. Okay, well then you can't provide that service. Like you can't just lose money on a service. So you have to understand cost. That's what I want to do a show on next time, because I can tell you right now, and that'll probably be a whole series. And I really feel led to help solve this problem of pricing, understanding market, understanding customer base, and understanding cost.
Well, you know what? And I'll even throw it out there to the audience to say, like, hey, look, are you really struggling with pricing? Would you want to be transparent? And let's sort of break it down. You know, whether we do it with our shops or we do it with just a random audience member. I'd love to do that and sort of break down and get that feedback.
And we should simplify it. It has to be simple, right? This can't be complex. The problem resides in a service-based industry where the variable is time. And most of it's labor, right? And that variable is based on the condition of the vehicle, right? And so condition is subjective, and so time then is an extreme variable that cost fluctuates. However, we can't just say, well, we can't price it because it's not. No, you do that based on averages, and averages, you win some, you lose some, but the overall average is built into profit, and so therefore, that on average, you are profiting X amount of percentage. That's after you pay yourself. That's another thing. All right, I propose this.
Dustin is passionate about pricing, guys.
It's probably the caffeine, dude. It's probably the caffeine. So listen to this. I said, how many of you here pay yourself? Cut yourself a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And I bet 20% of the people raise their hand. I bet 30 people in a class of 160. If that's not, 32 people, that would be 20%.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, how many of you here have an employee and you paid when you didn't have the money in your checking account?
Yeah.
And probably 50% of the people raise their hand. Okay.
So what does that tell you?
Pay yourself.
Yeah. So what?
So you're going to make it happen. So here's what I think. So like when you have to do something, you will. Mm-hmm. When you don't have to, you won't. It's as straightforward as that. So when you set yourself up on a recurring pay, you will make sure that paycheck is in, and it can't be recurring that you can stop. Right? Yeah. That's the way paying yourself happens. Now, there's a lot of work that goes into that beforehand. You got to get your pricing module right. You got to understand cost. You got to understand what you can pay yourself. But you need to set it up, and it's non-negotiable, just like your employees are.
And that other part of it is setting up what you can do. You can make a list as long as a book of all the different services you can do. But what makes the most sense for your business?
So it's profitable.
You know what I mean? And then you're going to be, what's the most profitable? What are the jobs you want to be doing? What are those one-off? Maybe you don't do interiors, right? Or maybe you don't do exteriors or whatever it may be. And you're just doing that and you're serving your market. So the things like you said, the demographics and that process of services that you do and being efficient and knowing both of those, it almost ends up giving you your pricing.
Well, yeah, you find your target audience and how are you going to serve them? How can you best serve them? So 20% of your business, 20% of your customers create 80% of your business, 80-20 rule. And how can you serve that 20% better and more efficiently and more profitable?
And sometimes it's, again, if you use Detail Bookie, right, it tells you which jobs you're doing the most of.
No, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So if you're out there and you don't know what you're charging too much or too little, or I've got too many different services.
Yeah.
Well, go take a look at Detail Bookie and be like, holy smokes, I've only done 3 of these all year. Probably shouldn't be on the menu.
That's inherently the problem anyway, is people, detailers understanding like it being in a format where they can look at those numbers, cost and income. So the cost and sales, right? Because if it's pen and paper, you can't add it up. You don't know how many jobs you've done. You don't know your average job. You don't know what you charged last week for, it's.
So I think we've got to do our homework and let's put a good series together with this pricing, and really break it down easily and hopefully make it so if someone watches 3 episodes, 5 episodes, whatever it is, by the end of it, they're going to be able to really create a good pricing model for themselves.
Absolutely.
And we got to do our homework and try and put that out there for people.
Yeah. I'm going to have AI write mine.
No, we want the Dustin Jackson touch. That's the AI with a couple, with
I'll change a few words. Don't worry.
In terms of MTE, what are those other things? Like, I was honored to be there in the Detail Bookie booth helping you out there, brother. What were those other what were those other things you heard from people that haven't used detail booking, right? What are those other headaches that they need solved there?
Oh man, customer communication. Communicating to customers is probably like the lowest hanging fruit. Because like calling appointment reminders, Google review request, like the things that you're not doing because that just takes time and you're on to the next detail, or you're given pricing over the phone, so you don't have time to check in with your customers. And another thing is, oh man, I just drew my estimate follow up. So like somebody calls me, right? How much for a detail? Okay, I'll tell Bob it's $1,500 for the detail. Thanks, Mike Carlin, by the way. That's a shout out to you. We have a joke with the $1,500 thing. Anytime anybody calls and asks how much for a price, we want to tell them $1,500, just flat rate for everything.
Just flat rate for everything.
Right. Headlights $1,500. Repaint $1,500. Anyways, Bob calls me and he gets a price. How much for a detail? Hey, Bob, it's gonna be $1,500. I hang up. I go back to work. I'm owner operator. Bob told me he was gonna call me back.
Bob's not calling back.
If Bob, first of all, newsflash, Bob's not calling back. Bob probably called a detailer and went and got it done. Anyways, but that dies on the tree. That's done. You're like, the only time you're calling Bob back is if you're lucky and the note falls out from under your seat and you're at the Chick-fil-A getting a chicken sandwich. You're like, holy shit, Bob didn't call me back 2 weeks later. I should probably check in on Bob.
I should probably check in on Bob. Or Bob's your neighbor. Maybe Bob's your neighbor.
Software can handle those things, man. That's such easy automation to text to Bob every few days and say, and it's called a nudge, like a nudge to Bob and say, hey, remember me? I'm over here. Amazon did a really good job at it. And I feel like they're pretty successful by doing an empty cart an abandoned cart.
Yeah.
You ever got a text from, any e-com site in the world now that texts you and says, hey, you left some things in the cart?
The other part of Amazon is that think about how many texts you get about your packages arriving.
Yeah. Communication.
It's not like you need all those texts, but guess what's on your phone all day, every day? They just want to be on that lock screen.
It's called top of mind awareness. I don't want you to forget about me no matter what.
You're not forgetting about Amazon.
And I don't have to pay an employee to sit there and make those calls. I don't have to make those calls myself. I can go on and solve problems like pricing.
The one thing that I heard a couple times was the inefficiency with the scheduling.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Where it's like either they get overbooked or I got an empty bay, or you know what I mean? Something's not getting filled. And I think that was one of those things where I was like, okay, look, detail booking's great, but some of that has to be coming from them of like, okay, I've got an empty bay. How do I fill it? Right. And in your area, you're only doing so many ceramic coatings or whatever it is. And sometimes I had a couple good conversations with people. They're like, hey, you need an employee or you need to be filling that bay. Well, why don't you open up that bay to just an exterior maintenance hand wash for $30 a car and book that by appointment on detail booking where it's just that bay.
Or it's just that babe. That's just that package. Yeah.
15 minutes, $30. You're doing $120 an hour.
Yeah. Right.
And you got one guy there, two guys there, whatever it is at $20 an hour. Well, you can do that math.
Yeah. And it's managing expectations on that level. But the problem is the industry, and I hate to lump all this together, but everybody thinks you're too good for that. Everybody wants to run the Rupes. They want to run the Flex, and literally look, I can't tell you. Me and Joel LaPalm had a call the other day, and he's just like pulling his hair out. And I said, "What's up, Joel?" He said, "I'm watching these guys, these mentors, advise these shops on to stop offering detailing, interior detailing, to stop offering. They just do coatings, just do correction."
Yeah.
And I think we even had this conversation when he's on here, and he's like, you're basically sending your customers to someone else to have this service done. The thing that got you to where you are is what you're giving up on.
Yep.
We're not too good to detail, guys. We're detailers, you know, and that includes washing a vehicle.
You know what it is? It's that price. You know what I mean? When you're doing a coating for $1,000 and you're getting the money, and that's the biggest thing.
There's
that
pride
has
attached to it,
helped
and I get it,
and hurt the industry.
Yep, I get it.
But
you know what? And listen, whether that's the most profitable service, maybe it doesn't make sense to do that. But we're just giving some ideas there on possibilities. If you're slow, and you can go make $120 an hour doing, maintenance wash exteriors.
This gives you an opportunity to hire somebody. If you're stuck at that plateau of like, man, I can't find a detailer that details like me. Well, guess what? You're not. But you're going to find people that are inexperienced that could hand wash a car.
Yeah.
And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're with you and they're around you and you're mentoring them
And you're
and
training
they
them.
want to start detailing.
You're
And
training
now
them.
you've got a way to build that personnel infrastructure versus just finding the perfect detailer on the street.
You gotta improvise as you know, this industry or the economy has shifted a little bit, and we're having to change the way that we're running some of our packages to bridge the gap. We're offering now, we went to a good, better, best model where we were kind of like good and best.
Yeah.
And because we wanted to open the door for that middle tier package that we felt like would help us bridge the gap of sales and hopefully raise our conversion percentage up from in the mid 40s, high 40s right now. You know, we're trying to get to 60, 70%. I'm just gonna be honest with you with numbers. We left $1.3 million in open estimates on the table last year. $1.3 million.
Unacceptable, Dustin.
If my sales team's listening right now, when I get off this podcast, I'm telling you right now, I'm ripping heads off. No, we talk about it all the time. We knew it. We knew it going into it. But when you see it as a whole, if you think like 10%, that's 130 grand.
Yep.
I mean, like, okay, you know, it doesn't take long to figure out. We don't have a marketing problem. We have a sales problem.
Yeah.
And
you guys have the people getting there to the site, looking to get the service done.
Yeah.
And you got to just
the
get
top of the funnel works. It's the bottom of the funnel is too small, you know?
Yeah.
And so we got to widen it up. We had to figure out. And let me tell you what else we struggle with. I think that letting people understand what we struggle with may help them, you know, be more aware of what they may struggle. But dealing with objections and then the deeper follow-up. We don't want to harass people. You know, like it sounds real good on paper to say we need to get to a yes or a no with someone. Like it's you know, it's either buy or die, you know?
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to a guy that owns a lot of dealerships. I had lunch with him 2 days ago, and that's what he told me. Their sales team is buy or die. You know, we need to know it's yes or no. Okay. And that's a hard concept to teach when you're the good old boy down here in the South and you want to be everybody's buddy. And our sales team is very, very customer service, and we're your buddy first. The problem is we left $1.3 million on the table last year. And how are we going to go get it? Are we going to be their buddy? Or are we going to make a living? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
So I think the biggest thing people take away, everyone's struggling with different things, right? Yep. Everyone's got a different headache, you know, that they're dealing with, employees, scheduling, everything that we're pricing. And there isn't going to be a solution to fix everything.
Nope.
But, you know, going to MTE, surrounding yourself, listening to podcasts, furthering that education. And then you pick and choose what you can efficiently accomplish. You know what I mean? And keep moving forward.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not going to solve everything at once. This is something that we all struggle with. And then you have, what did I tell you? It's a paralysis by analysis, right? I know
there goes Dustin with his sayings.
Well, like, you know, we get all this shit to do, all this stuff we need to do, and we don't do anything. You're like, man, I just can't get any of it done. I got all this. I need to update my website. I need to update my booking site. I need to order more chemicals. I need to go QC this car. You're right. But just pick one. Pick one area of focus.
Yep.
And work on it. I told somebody the other day, they were setting up their packages. And they, you know, and it was like they were overwhelmed. And I said, well, stop, because you're not going to solve them all. I said, here's what you need to do. Every job that calls in, write it down. Go in the software. I mean, and this is like they have a lot of intricate packages and stuff. So this is some company's been running a long time, and they got a lot of stuff going on. I think too much, to be honest with you. Well, whatever. And I told them that. I'm not saying anything. Anyways, I said, go in there, book a job. I said, if that job you can't book because you're needing something in a package or a service, go fix that right then and get that job booked. Yep. All right, now you fixed a package. Now book the next job and then go fix that package and then book the next job and then go fix that package. And the next thing you know, you done solved the problem.
You've got all your packages in there that you need. That you need.
Yeah. And if you're booking something once a year, stop selling that.
It's taking up menu space. You could, instead of where that space is on your menu or on your website and you're doing it once a year, instead you do an add-on that you add on 30, 40, 50 times that you're upselling.
Yep.
That's making you more money.
It's more money. And that's less services that you have to sell. That's less services that you have to teach or train. Like if I'm doing something so one-off that I have to go get stuff special that day. Oh my God, that is so inefficient. And I'm talking to myself too. Like I'm envisioning a trip to O'Reilly's. Like, what are you doing?
I haven't been to O'Reilly's in a minute.
What? O'Reilly's is the save all, man. You're like, oh shit, I need this. Run down there. Not chemicals or products. Like, good, please God, don't go pay retail for that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. There's another conversation. If you're paying retail for products, especially like soap and degreaser and things, dude, there's so many other avenues to get those chemicals and those products. You really need to look at how you're buying and make sure that you're not overpaying
and taking the time to drive there, pick it up, and take it back.
Gosh, man,
yeah,
that's terrible. So
MTE was a huge recap, right? Good little recap.
Yeah, it was great. MTE was great. Like, let me tell you something that I'm super proud of is our industry, and we're growing, and look, you go to an event like that and you get to see a snapshot of the industry. What you don't see online is a snapshot of our industry. What you see on Facebook and social medias are what people try to portray us as. If you see anything negative as the industry, it's a portrayal, and it's how they think it is. If you go to an event, you see a snapshot because you got people traveling from all over the United States and all over the world that all do the same thing. And you get to see a true snapshot of what that image, of what that looks like, not somebody's portrayal. And I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong by any means. But what I'm saying is go to an event, see the energy, see how people interact with each other, see that there are no fights whatsoever. There, everybody's helping everybody. That's suppliers, that's vendors, that's detailers, that's everybody involved, sponsors. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's rubbing elbows with each other, and then we all go back to work.
And then everyone's back on Monday.
Then we're just back detailing. What do you think? What do you think a detailer that doesn't have social media thinks about the industry? Do you think that he thinks that everything's going to shit and detailing is nothing and like everybody's fighting? Or do you think that if he doesn't have social media and he doesn't know, he probably thinks there's just other guys out in the world doing the same shit that he does, fighting the same battle that he does?
You get stuck into those four walls. You know what I mean? And I'm subject to that because I don't, and that's even without social media. You know what I mean? You only know what you know. And inside those four walls, you can be there actively trying to get better, which is great.
Yeah.
But unless you go outside those four walls, conventions, trainings, talking to people, whatever it is, asking questions, DMing other local shops, whatever it may be, that collaboration, you have to be stubborn and know what you're doing, but open-minded enough to change your opinion. You know what I mean? Man. Open-minded enough to say, hey, they're doing it better and I got to adapt to that.
I always tell people if I'm in a class and I say, look, you ask the question. If you think it, no matter how simple it may be, how dumb it may be, quote unquote, ask it, because if you're sitting there thinking it, somebody else is thinking it too. And we've all had to help. We all help each other, And so like, I may not have the answer, but if you ask the question, somebody else in the class may have that. Somebody else in the group may have it. And that's how we crowdsource information. That's how we teach each other. And let me tell you what else is nice. To hear somebody that has the same problems that you do is for whatever
Everyone
reason.
Got the same problems, Dustin. We all got the same problems.
We all got the same problems. We all need to make more money. We all want to work less. Okay. Yeah. Straight up. But to hear people that have to, pick gum out of carpet too, and to like, it's something that makes you feel not so lonely, and it actually energizes you when you're around a bunch of people that solve the same problems that you have and dealt with the same shitty customer that you've dealt with. And like, hey, we're all doing this together, man. It's something that makes you feel a little less lonely in this world. And you know what? It energizes you. And I tell you, MTE was an absolute success beyond measure for detail booking. I'm steadily onboarding customers still. We have signups every day coming from Mobile Tech. Shout out to you, Nick, to Tommy, to your wife, to Tommy's wife, Julia, to Chris, to Chelsea, to my dad, to Billy and Vandy and his team. Dude,
that was awesome.
Mobile Tech was a freaking success, and I wouldn't take anything in this world for the show that we had.
And the one thing is look, when you go to Mobile Tech and you're burnt out, and usually you go to Mobile Tech stressed out because you're leaving the shop, you're closing, you're like, man, I've just spent this money. I got to stay. I'm away from the shop. I'm not making money. Right. Yep. And you go there, and those days aren't short. That's a 7 a.m. class. It's 8
It's a
a.m. class.
long day.
Those are long back-to-back days. And then but you leave there in a way refreshed and re-energized with different. It's just such a cool feeling that, again, if you're listening and you haven't been, you know,
Oh, man,
you make sure you go next year. You ask people
Well,
that went and see what stuff they learned. You know.
Yeah, in SEMA, you know, if you can afford to make that trip, it's
Big.
not quite as personal. It's not
Yeah.
quite as personal, but it's great. Oh, and shout out to marketing team Madison and Brooke behind the scenes. I know they weren't there at the show, but they worked their butts off. They caught support. They helped. Christine did as well. So make sure, you know, those are the behind the curtains. But I want to make sure that we give them a shout out. You know, speaking of SEMA, Detail Bookie will be there loud and proud. We're going to do a booth. Nick, you just kind of got by default. You're there, by the way. I haven't told you. So you weren't at the house afterwards, but you go ahead and tell the wife that you know.
So Sarah, well, as long as we can go get those tacos, the tacos on the corner.
Yeah, well, we're all gonna be there. So
we're there already. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You guys are going. Sarah's going. Thank you. I had forgotten her name. I'm sorry. So this is your formal. It's not an invitation. It's
no, it's not. It's pretty mandatory.
Mandatation.
As long as you can send me, you have a shirt there for me this time.
Well, that's what. Oh, so yes, absolutely, and we're going to talk about that off site too, because or off this show. But Detail Bookie will be at Seem Loud and Proud, and you listen, man. I'm so happy to have this show today. And you will see us more regular going through this year. I mean, we have a lot of travel, a lot of obligations, but this show is important and it's growing. I mean, you can see our audience is getting bigger and bigger every day. And, you know, everybody still is overwhelming responses that I'm a much better host than you, Nick. I don't write it. Look,
you know what's interesting on the panel? I'm just there to keep you boxed in and last so you win. On the panel, when you ask the question and no one answered, I'm like, well, let me jump in and save your ass. No worries. Let me make something up on the fly.
I was asleep here in the panel. Like I was just, and then it completely didn't even answer the question I asked. But you did great. No, I'm just joking, of course. I listen. I appreciate you on this show more than you know. You stepped up big time. I like when you stepped up to come on this show. And I'm very appreciative of you and Sarah and all the work.
We can do our part and try and help out some other people in business. That's all. That's what it's for, man.
Yeah, well, it all comes full circle, really buddy. Time. Appreciate y'all. Yep. Hang on, Chris is telling me next year we will try and find a place where we can karaoke and dance on the tables. Absolutely, we're going to do that. Let's go, Joel and Bob. A shirt still waiting for mine.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? If at least an IGL shirt, let me get some sort of shirt. You know,
Oprah. You get a shirt. You get a shirt. No, we're getting shirts. We're getting shirts. We just got to figure out the budget. My bags are already packed. Oh yeah, Madison.
So did Madison want to come to MTE? Did she not get? She wanted to.
Oh no. She like so. You know, our team has gotten smaller this year, and so we had to really cut back on our expenditures on the traveling to a show. So Madison, sacrificed. She stayed back. She worked, but she's definitely going to be at SEMA. We got to have her. So not an option.
She's awesome.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep. Any other comments that we want to drop in there? He's looking through. We good? Cool. Tayton, that was the best show. I personally had the energy I had when I got home was so amazing, and I'm so happy to make there you go, right there. There you go, right there. Unsolicited advice, and there you go. What's up, Mike Carlin? You're supposed to be on this show. I tried to.
Mike already promised he's going to come do a little IGL training, even though we're not on the schedule. So I'm going to put it out there.
No. So the weekend after, I don't know. It's like April. I'm going to mess this up. April 11th or 12th, 13th. We're going to do an Aegis training here at the shop. It's the weekend after the boat show. No, you need to come down for the boat show and then stay for the training.
Yeah, I got to get some dates there. There's
a boat show for anybody that wants to come. We'd love to see you guys there. Brandon, good. I love helping other guys in the industry.
That is the Aegis king right there.
He is, dude. He's killing it.
I want to go see him in action over there with Aegis. I got questions.
Hey, we used a couple kits. We used a couple kits Monday and Tuesday.
Did you?
No, Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, we went back out to Pensacola International. Shout out to our guys that are watching us on Facebook.
That's cool.
Hopefully, my guys are watching again. We went out to Pensacola International Airport and did their walls. We sprayed their walls with Aegis, an IGL product, a corrosion-resistant shiny product that we sprayed on.
I want to get a new,
to our supporters
new company.
in that.
Call it Windy City Corrosion Control. You know what I mean? Corrosion. I'm trying to figure out the right name. Maybe we do a little something on the show.
You're going to create a whole new company for it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it'd be totally separate. Totally separate.
That's not car wash.
That's not detailing.
If I said I was going to create another LLC, I would walk into an office and it would be just me, and everybody would quit and leave, including my dad. He would take his golf shoes one last time.
He just make sure. Wait, I got check off that he's got everything. Take out of the office and say peace out.
I know. Yeah, we forgot to visit Jupiter while we were down too. Chris said.
No,
all right, listen, we're boring everybody to death, and I got shit to do. Let's go. Great show as always. We will be back next week, right?
Next week. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.